2, Drexel in lane 3, LaSalle in lane 4, MIT in lane 5, and Temple in lane 6. Earlier today in the women's second varsity 4, it was Georgetown taking home the gold medal, followed by Temple, MIT, Monmouth, Robert Morris, and FIT. So a bit of a different lineup here in the varsity 4, the 1v4 grand final. Yesterday in the time trial, Drexel had the fastest time by a margin of about 14 seconds over the next fastest crew. That was Mercy Hurst, who actually failed to qualify in their semifinal, finishing 4th behind LaSalle, Western Ontario, and Temple. And they are underway here in this McNiff Trophy final. In the first semifinal, Drexel won by pretty slight margin actually over MIT, just 3 seconds, and then 10 seconds to Georgetown. Time of 7:25. That semifinal ran much quicker than the next semifinal, just about 14 seconds between LaSalle and MIT. LaSalle and MIT across the two semifinals. But early on here, it looks like we've got Drexel, MIT, and Temple starting to edge out into the lead as we see this Temple Owls boat move by our launch camera. Looks like Georgetown also making a push out of lane 1.
All right, and looking down at our field now, we're starting to get a little bit of spread. Again, all boats still pretty close together, but we're starting to see a little bit of separation now that the race has just shaken out a little bit. We're long past the 100-meter mark of breakage with a clean start. And right now we're looking at Georgetown and Drexel, who are your current leaders in lanes 1 and 3. And then we will go over to LaSalle in lane 4. And then MIT, Temple, and Western Ontario. So right now our eye is on Drexel, the Drexel Dragons again in the beautiful yellow Empacher as we cross the 500-meter mark. But as I speak, here comes Georgetown.
Yeah, it looks like this race for the medal stand as well behind these boats is looking really strong. MIT with the advantage early on, but LaSalle and that's Western Ontario there in lane 2. Looking good, and not out of it just yet is that boat from Temple. So 6 boats here, still pretty connected through the first 600 meters of this one. And again, that Drexel race with Georgetown is really starting to heat up. Those 2 boats are starting to move away from the rest of the field. And as I speak, Western Ontario dropping back a little bit into a distinct 5th place as that race for 3rd is between those 2 boats at the moment, lane 5 MIT and lane 4 LaSalle, as we look at our leaders from Drexel.
Yeah, and remember we have a few of these crews too who are also gunning for the small boat trophies, and Drexel is certainly in the mix for that, as well as Georgetown, always going after those points trophies. We also have Lafayette, like we saw before. So this is actually going to be quite exciting because we don't actually know exactly what the scores are between all of these different crews. It really keeps us on our toes here until the final races happen. But we are looking at a bunch of crews here who are after multiple goals, not only gold medals in between or within their own races, but also the small boats trophies and the points trophies for their entire teams all the way across the board. So there is really a lot of stakes here. There's a lot on the line for a lot of these crews that are so much bigger than just a gold or silver medal.
Yeah, again, and even in the women's points trophy specifically, Georgetown has been looking good so far. Drexel's had a couple wins under their belt. Temple's had a couple wins under their belt. So it's just going to be, interesting to see how these sweep events continue to play out, specifically with the Georgetown, Temple, Drexel boats. Looks like Drexel is the first one to hit the 1,000-meter mark. And again, with the men's program, I think in the driver's seat, winning the points trophy on the men's end. If the women's team for Drexel can get some results, I think that Drexel is in a really good position for the overall points trophy here at the Vail Regatta. But again, we'll get that all sorted just after the break. And you can see here the lead race now looks like the stroke seat of Drexel sitting on the bow deck of that Georgetown boat, just about a 4-seat lead now for the Dragons over Georgetown as the Hoyas try and do anything they can to get themselves back into this one. This third 500 is really where this race can be won and lost.
Yeah, that's true. The third 500 is sometimes such a black hole of a part of the race. Not only can it be really quiet, of course, depending on the race course, but it's really, really quiet, and you really start to get so internal at this part of the race. It's really the art of the coxswain to kind of keep their crews in the race here and focus when things really start to hurt. You really start to lose those brain cells. So it really takes a good coxswain here to kind of keep their crew in the hunt and focused and internal and not thinking about the pain and all the things that go with rowing. So while it's a beautifully graceful sport, there's so much going on inside the boat. And I think we're being shown here that these two crews have gone head to head and really stayed internal in their own races and executed different race plans here at different parts of the race, making moves on each other, but really showing us some beautiful rowing here as we come down the course when things really get difficult. So right now, still looking at Drexel in the lead, bow and stern deck overlapping Georgetown in lane 1, and it's really these two that have run away with it.
Yeah, 500 meters left to go now for our lead boat from Drexel. Georgetown hits the line just about 3 seconds behind. And Drexel now, as you can see, starting to open the rate up just a little bit, pulling away ever so slightly from this Hoyas boat.
Yeah, that's right. And down in the last 500, we have some fantastic crowds. I know you're down there by the Jumbotron, so if you are not, you certainly should be. So much pride on the line here for so many of these programs. Really proud super fans, parents, coaches, volunteers. So, you know, make sure you come down here and cheer for your alma maters if you rode there before, or your student athletes that are out on the water today. But so much pride on the line for these programs. And Georgetown and Drexel really showing us how it's done.
Yeah, just about 300 meters left in it now for our lead boat. And again, that race for second appears to have, or rather third, appears to have moved into the form of that MIT boat out there in lane 5. LaSalle trying to hang on to fourth as Western Ontario and Temple try and make a push up, but it seems like LaSalle sitting in fourth, Western Ontario fifth, Temple sixth at the moment. That MIT boat making a nice push here in the final 500 meters of this one. I don't think it's going to be enough to get them into second, but it's hard to tell from this angle. They definitely are moving on the Georgetown boat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know about that because they're at a rate 39 right now, and they're looking like they're moving every single stroke here. They've really started to push. Now, we don't have a side-on angle. Very difficult to tell. A very close call here, bow ball to bow ball, but right now it is the Drexel Dragons that are going to put their name on that gold medal at this point as they sit up and get this done.
Yeah, McNiff Trophy goes to the Drexel Dragons. Huge celebration in that boat, and Georgetown hangs on for the silver. Great push by MIT at the end, finishing for the bronze. We'll see here between LaSalle and Western Ontario. It is Western Ontario taking home fourth. LaSalle finishes fifth, and Temple will cross the line in sixth place. There they are.